Nami, Sādhu, Bante, Saleh, my brother and sister, welcome to the lesson on Metta. I am Tam. I'm the meeting host today who will be helping Sādhu and everyone. Maybe invite Sādhu to start the teaching and maybe invite the interpreter Bante to start the translation. Sādhu, Sādhu, Sādhu.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So today we have to start. Last week we have already talked about Buddhanussati, but today we have to start with Metta. As everybody know, this Pali word, Metta, as loving kindness. So I have to interpret first. Metta means loving all living beings equally. That is really called Metta. So sometimes we have difficulty to love our enemies, difficulty to love those who disturb us. But anyway, in Buddhism, we have special practice to love all the living beings equally. That is called Metta. The Metta is very effective. Then the Buddha himself teach the benefits of Metta in Sutta. There the Buddha said, offering 100 pots of rice in the morning, at midday, or at nightfall. So it will take time to cook hundreds of pots. But although we offer 100 pots of rice in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, or at night, then compared to radiating Metta, what will be? That is it, developing the thoughts of loving kindness for at least a very short time in the morning, at midday, or at nightfall. So that means, although we radiate Metta very short, compared to offering rice, 100 pots of rice, 3 times a day, developing loving kindness is more beneficial. That's what the Buddha said in Sutta. And again here, a bhikkhu should train mind, release of mind in loving kindness should be developed, cultivated, make a habit, thoroughly practiced, should be looked after and thoroughly undertaken. So that means we must develop loving kindness, that we must make a habit of radiating loving kindness, or we must practice thoroughly or respectfully. We must take care of our practice. This is recommended by the Buddha. So in brief, although we offer 100 pots of rice 3 times a day, loving kindness is more powerful, more beneficial than offering hundreds of pots of rice 3 times a day. So you can find these suttas in Samyutta Nikaya. We have another suttas, Sati suttas. So you may know this Pali word, Sati. Sati is actually spear or sword. Mostly we translate as spear. So then the Buddha also teach a sharp bladed spear isn't easy to bend back by grasping it in the top, striking it with hands in the middle, striking it here and there in the blade. So we need to make the blade of a spear blunt. And we may grasp it with our hands at the top. Although we grasp it, we cannot make it blunt. Although we strike it with our hands, we cannot make it blunt. Although we strike it with hands here and there in the blades, we cannot blunt it. Moreover, I think he will fall into trouble here. We can say we will be trouble if we strike or if we grasp the spear. The blade is a very sharp and very thin. When we grasp, it can injure our hands. It can cut our hands. Similarly, if we have very strong metta, how will be the benefit? So you may remember the Karaniya Metta Sutta. You can find the source in that sutta also. Okay, here we have a bhikkhu should train a release of minds in loving kindness should be developed, cultivated, made a habit, thoroughly practiced, should be looked after, and thoroughly undertaken. If we can develop it, what will be the benefits? Yeah. A non-human being who would think of possessing that monk's mind would simply fall trouble. So that means those who radiate metta very thoroughly or who can develop radiate metta, although a non-human being trying to possess his mind, he cannot do. He will fall into trouble. You may remember the Metta Suttas. We have already said Karaniya Metta Sutta. 500 bhikkhus. In the first time, they didn't radiate metta to devas in the forest. They disturbed him. They disturbed them. The next time, learning metta meditation and Metta Sutta chanting from the Buddha, they radiate metta towards all divine beings in the forest. From that time on, they didn't disturb the bhikkhus. So here, Sati Suttas, although no human being trying to disturb our minds, it is impossible to do it. This is the power of loving kindness. So, when we are going to talk about loving kindness, we also have to explain how to radiate metta systematically. If we can radiate metta systematically, what will be the benefits? I think when seeing this picture, you may remember who are they. The first one is Sirima, a prostitute. Another one is Uttara, one of the lady, rich lady. So, actually, the Uttara, the lady, asks the Sirima to have her. The prostitute must live with her husband when she was preparing for donation. Within that period, the lady, the prostitutes, Sirima, fall in love with Uttara's husband. She planned to kill Uttara. The first time she carried cooking wine. It's very hot. He carried with a cup and trying to pour over Uttara. Uttara was ready metta to her heart. Because of her help, she could do all the things very easily and comfortably. That is why they, although she tried to pour wine over her, that she could not. It's just cool. It cannot burn her. She thought it's a little bit cool. That's why it cannot burn her. She tried second time, third time, not successful. Finally, she realized, oh, I have already made very big mistakes. Then she asked for forgiveness. Then Buddha brought her to the Buddha. Finally, she became a Buddhist devotee. Okay, the main thing is, when we have very strong and powerful loving kindness, we can make our enemies as friends. So this is the power of loving kindness. So the first thing we have to know, when we have loving kindness, we can, when we have loving kindness, we can change our life totally. Then we also have to know how to radiate metta systematically. So today I will explain all the steps one by one. First, we have to know how to radiate metta. Han awiro homi. May I be free from danger. This is only example. This is the first formula we have to do. So when we radiate metta to our other living beings, may he be free from danger. May she be free from danger. May they be free from danger. We can use any language to radiate metta towards other living beings. The second formula. Abhyapajo homi. May I be free from mental pain. Actually, here, Bhayabhata means it also can be like a worry, also can be sorry, anxiety. Then many of distress also can be considered as Bhayabhata. So that's why here we translate simply, may I be free from mental pain. When we are going to radiate metta towards other living beings, may he be free from mental pain, or may she be free from mental pain. We can also radiate metta towards all living beings with the same formula. Then we have next one, Anigo homi. May I be free from bodily pain. Yeah, anika is actually suffering, bodily suffering. It's called anika. So may I be free from bodily pain or bodily suffering. When we are going to radiate metta towards other living beings, it will be the same. May he be free from bodily pain. May she be free from bodily pain, or may they be free from bodily pain. Then again, the last one. Sukhiyatana pariharami. May I be well and happy. Actually, here Sukhi means well. Adana means by oneself or for oneself. Pariharami means bring. May I be able to bring up myself happily or peacefully or comfortably. Sorry. So this is the meaning of the Pali passage. Then when we radiate metta, we just use very simple term, may I be well and happy. So when we radiate metta to our other living beings, may he be free from, may he be well and happy, or may she be well and happy, or may they be well and happy. We can radiate metta with these four formulas. Now we must also know how to start, or with whom should we start radiating metta, or to whom should we start radiating metta. For this, we have the first one, radiating metta towards oneself. because we love ourselves most. That is why when we are going to radiate metta, we have to start radiating metta towards ourselves. If we can radiate metta very well, we cannot attain jhana because this radiating metta toward ourselves. When we can radiate metta toward other living beings, we can attain the first jhana, the second jhana, and the third jhana. Okay, in brief, here we have to understand, in the very beginning, we have to start radiating metta toward ourselves. If we can use previous 4 formula. May I be free from danger. May I be free from mental pain. May I be free from bodily pain. May I be well and happy. We can radiate one after another. Maybe we can radiate the first formula. May I be free from danger for few minutes until we can feel peacefulness and calmness of the mind. Now we can proceed using the second formula. May I be free from mental pain for a few minutes. May I be free from bodily pain for a few minutes. May I be well and happy for a few minutes until we can feel peacefulness and calmness of the mind. Then if we can radiate metta very well, we can continue the next steps with the next living beings. It is radiating metta towards respected persons. Here, respected person means the one who we respect, like a teacher, maybe like a leader, somebody we respect too much. Now, when we are going to radiate metta towards our respected persons, we have to choose the respected persons of our own sex. That means when a lady is going to radiate metta, he must choose a lady. When a man is going to radiate metta, he must choose a man to radiate metta. So we can use the same formula. May he be free from danger, or may she be free from danger. With this formula, we can also attain jhana, because this is a respected person. If we can radiate metta very well, as we have learned in other meditation methods, we can also see the light, we can also see the nimitta. But the nimitta of metta is living beings. So we must see living beings, then we must see the persons, we have to visualize his image or her image. As we feel pleased and happy, then we can radiate metta toward him or her. After that, if we can radiate metta very well, we can also attain jhana. The first jhana, the second jhana, and the third jhana. So we can radiate metta towards our respected persons, maybe at least 10 persons, one after another. After that, we can move another steps. Radiating metta towards dear persons of our own sex. The formula will be the same as before. Now, what is the difference between two different persons? Respected persons and dear persons. Respected persons can be high-ranking people. Maybe their virtues are better than us, or their lifestyle is better than us, or they are smarter than us, or something like that. But what about dear persons? It can be like our family member, like a parents, brothers, or sisters, or friends. It can be cousins. It can be anybody. We can use the same formula. May he be free from danger, or may she be free from danger. May he be free from mental pain, may she be free from mental pain, and so forth. By radiating metta towards dear person, we can also attain jhana. As I have said before, we can also see the lights. We can also see the nimitta. Then we can take the first jhana, the second jhana, and the third jhana. And the next steps, radiate metta towards enemies. Sorry, here I have this mistakes. I'm missing one. That is actually there must be indifferent people in between these two. This is mistakes. Okay, indifferent persons there must be. Indifferent person means it's not our close friends or our family member, or it's not our enemies, and it can be anybody. Can be. It can be the person we have seen on the way, but we didn't know their name. Also, it can be the person we have seen maybe in our group meeting or something like that. Then we have seen, but we didn't know their name, not very close to us. All these are called indifferent persons. We can already metta to indifferent persons, as we understand before. May he be free from danger, or may he be free from danger, until we can take the jhana. After that, we can proceed, radiating metta towards enemies. The enemies mean the one we hate, or those who disturb us. Then we can radiate metta toward him or her. May he be free from danger, or may she be free from danger, and so on. So this is the systematic practice. We ourselves, respected one, dear one, indifferent one, and enemies. Then after that, we can break down the barriers. What does it mean, breaking down barriers? As we love ourselves, we must be able to love respected persons, dear persons, indifferent persons, and enemies. So when we are going to break down the barriers, first we have to radiate metta to ourselves. Then we can choose respected one or dear one. If it's just a dear person, also okay. Then we have to radiate metta to indifferent persons, then enemies. And for the second round, we can radiate metta to ourselves, then dear or indifferent persons one, another one, then another indifferent persons, or another enemies. In this way, we can radiate, we can rotate one after another. We ourselves, respect or dear one, indifferent one, enemies. After radiating many times, no boundary between us. As we love ourselves, we can also love dear persons, indifferent persons, enemies. Finally, we will not hate anybody. That is the power of loving kindness. That is called breaking down the barriers. So, after breaking down the barriers, we can also proceed the next steps. Radiating metta towards all living beings in one direction, two directions, and so on. Actually, we can find this kind of passage in Anguttara Nikaya in many different places. So first, we have to radiate metta towards living beings in the east, using the same formula. Then we can also proceed southeast, south, southwest, west, northwest, north, and southwest. In this way, we can radiate metta up and down. That means we can also radiate metta towards all living beings above us. We can also radiate metta towards living beings, all the living beings under us, like hair beings or any other living beings. We can radiate metta towards 10 directions. So this means all living beings in 10 directions. This is called Odisa metta. We can radiate metta like this. We can also proceed the next steps. That is, radiating metta towards all living beings in 10 directions. So that means the first one, we have to radiate 10 directions, one by one. The last one is radiating metta toward all living beings in directions overall. It will be different. So this is the way we have to radiate metta to our living beings. In every single steps, except in radiating metta to ourselves, we can attain the first jhana, second jhana, the third jhana. In reality, there are 528 ways of radiating metta. It's too much. But here, because of the condition is very short, the limited time is very short, that's why I will not explain all the 528 ways of radiating metta. You can also learn all this method in ONC, written by Venerable Fauscaro. So this is the steps we have to use when we are radiating metta. What is the benefit of loving kindness? We can also learn the benefit of loving kindness in Anguttara Nikaya, Book 11. They are mentioned 11 benefits of loving kindness. So one sleeps in comfort. So if you cannot sleep well, then you can radiate metta. So anywhere, sometimes because of many other sufferings, we cannot sleep well, then we can start radiating metta to ourselves, metta towards all living beings. Gradually, we can feel peacefulness, we can fall asleep. Then one wake in comfort. Yes, sometimes we cannot wake up comfortably, right? When we have a lot of mental suffering, or if we have a lot of bodily pain or body suffering. When we can radiate metta, we can also wake up in comfort. Then one dreams no evil dreams. So if we have nightmare, a lot of bad dreams, we can radiate metta towards living beings before we are going to sleep. Then one is dear to human beings. Sometimes if many people hate us, it's the time to radiate metta to all living beings or to living beings around us. Then again, one is dear to non-human being. As you know, non-human being. It can be any non-human beings, right? Like a yaka, peta, any non-human beings. When we can radiate metta towards all living beings, it also includes non-human beings. And they will love us. Sorry. Then Deva gods, one. So when we can radiate metta very well, Devas will protect us. Then fire, poison, weapons do not affect one. So that was very obvious when we talk about Uddara's case. Also very hot wine, pour over him or over her, it does not disturb her. So all the wine become very cool. Then one's mind is easily concentrated. So sometimes when our mind is unstable, cannot concentrate, we can do metta as a basics to calm down our mind. After that, we can start concentrating on other meditation subjects. Then it can be helpful. Then the one's complexions become bright. That means our skins, our bodies become bright because of mind-produced materialities. When our mind become very bright, then mind-produced materialities, the color of mind-produced materialities in our body become bright. So this is one of the benefits here. Then one dies unconfused. I think in our community, in modern society, many of people worry about many different things and they pass away, they have confused minds, sometimes they are screaming or many terrible things arises when they are dying. So when we can ready metta very well, we will die and confuse. That means we can mindfully pass away. We can mindfully die. It will be more comfortable. We can be in a good destination. If we pass away with confused mind or with delusion, our destination is not very sure. And the last one, if one penetrates no higher, one will be reborn in the Brahma worlds. Here, no higher means, that does not mean jhana, it just means megapala. If one cannot attain had a path and fruition knowledge, he can attain jhanas, and he will be reborn in the Brahma world. Because we can attain up to that jhana by radiating metta. That is why after passing away, attaining metta jhanas, we can be reborn in the Brahma worlds if we can keep entering into that jhana in near-death moments. So these are the benefits of metta taught by the Buddha in Anguttara Nikaya, Book 11. So again, we have to proceed. The next one, Metta Parami. So we know that Metta is Parami, perfection. So if we can ready Metta very well, it also can be Parami. But there will be many different explanations of Parami. Okay, first I have to explain what does it mean Parami. Mostly we translate as perfection. In Pali, if we say Parami, this is the actions of noble persons or the actions of good people. That is called Parami. Only good people can do that kind of actions. That is why we call Parami. So, when we are going to fulfill Metta Parami, what should we do? As we have explained in Metta meditation, we have to love all the living beings equally. So here you can see the image. Usually Buddha is facing his enemies with loving kindness. Anyway, so when we have to see our enemies on the way, on the streets, we must try to radiate metta toward him or her to make our mind peace and calm. It's not that easy, right? It's not that easy to have loving kindness towards our enemies. If we try, it's possible. Finally, we will not hate anybody. Then the first steps. This is simile. As water can make any of good and bad people cool and cleanse their grimy body. So this is the power of water. If we drink water, or if we take a shower, we can feel fresh. We can feel cool. Although it's good people or bad people, whoever take a shower, whoever drink water, he will feel fresh. This is normal. Then when our body is dusty or a lot of sweat, then we can also take a shower. We can wash our body. It will cleanse our body. This is the power of water. Whether it's good people or bad people. It will be maybe pure people, it will be impure people. With good intention or with bad intention. Whoever came and drink or wash, the water will make him cool or cleanse his body. Similarly, when we can ready metta, it must be the same. we can radiate metta towards good people or bad people without any barriers. So having said, we can break down the barriers. That means we must not hate anybody. We must not favor anybody. This is called breaking down the barriers. So, for example, the Buddhas. The Buddha will have loving kindness toward his only son, Rahula. Rahula is a really good boy. Very obedient, very polite. Then, what about Devadatta? Devadatta disturbed the Buddha in many lives. This time in this very life, even he tries to assassinate the Buddha by sending the archers. So now here you can see the archers are in the picture. The archers are sent by Devadatta, but the Buddha asks him, then like Buddha help him. Actually, if he do as Devadatta orders, he must be killed again. But the Buddha saved his life, guide him to go another way. Then finally, he became Buddha's devotee. But the main thing is, although his enemies trying to attack him in many different ways, the Buddha can keep his loving kindness towards his enemies, like Venerable Devadatta. So if we have this kind of loving kindness, this is perfect loving kindness. Then again, when we are going to do Metta Parami, we have to know 3 types. Metta Parami is standard perfections of Metta. It's just normal. In our daily life, we will radiate Metta to our living beings. We will use bodily Metta, love people with our bodily actions. That means we can show our loving kindness towards living beings by helping them. We can also show our face to help them. This is called bodily loving kindness. Now this is bhava loving kindness. We can also have them bhavali. We can console, motivate, also like encourage, just trying to help other living beings with our bodily bhava actions. This is also called metta. Then we also have mental loving kindness. In the presence or in the absence, we can have the same metta, bodily, bhavali, and mentally. All these kind of metta is called standard loving kindness, standard perfections of metta. So, what will be the next steps? We have Metta Upa Parami, the medium perfections of Metta. So, when we talk about the medium perfections of Metta, we also have to talk about our bodily parts. Here I have to talk about one hermit or recluse. His name is Kantiwari. One of the king, Kalabu, hate him too much. We're living in his royal garden. He also gave Dhamma talk to his attendants, the ladies, his retinues, the ladies. That one scene that he got angry and he asked, "What is your practice?" Say, I'm a Kantiwadi. I hold Kantiwadi. Kantiwadi means patience, forbearance. Then he said, okay, I should try. Then the king cut his fingers. Asked him again, what's your practice? Then Kantiwadi said the same. He also explains, Kanti is not in my finger. Kanti is in my heart. Then he just cut hands. He just cuts the head. He just trying to pull out his eyes, cut his ears. He torture in many different ways and asks again and again, what's your practice? The ascetics keep saying, I am Kandiwadi. Now finally, he killed. He was killed by the king. But he keep radiating metta toward the king. So the main thing is, although we are tortured, or our hands are cut, our nose is cut, our eyes, ears are cut, we keep radiating metta toward living beings. This is called Metta Upaparami. Sometimes there is somebody who hates us too much. They try to disturb us. Okay, we keep radiating metta. Destroy our properties. Destroy our properties. We keep radiating metta. This is standard metta. Sometimes they disturb us, but destroying, maybe like trying to break our hands or break our legs or something like that. Trying to fight with us. We keep radiating metta. Although our hands are broken or something like that, this is called Metta Upaparami. So even Upaparami, the medium perfections, is very high quality. So when we have very strong and powerful minds, we can have this kind of metta. Like Kandiwadi. Here I have to explain one more thing. Kandi is also one of the Parami perfections. These two will arise together, Kanti and Metta. Without Kanti, Metta cannot arise. Without Metta, Kanti cannot arise. They two will arise together. They are like a head and tail and a head. What about the tail go, the head will follow. What about the head go, the tail will follow. Similarly, now Metta and Kanti will follow, will accompany. So now even medium perfections is not that easy. Then the last one, Metta Paramata Parami, the ultimate perfections of Metta. What does it mean, the ultimate perfections of Metta? So that means when we have very strong and powerful Metta, as we have studied before, although they destroy our properties, we still have Metta. They cannot destroy our Metta. They can destroy our properties, they cannot destroy our Mettas. Similarly, second steps, they were destroying our legs or our hands or our body parts. They cannot destroy our Metta. Then finally, although they try to kill us, we still have Metta. Although we pass away with Metta. This is called ultimate perfections of Metta. So here I have to say it again. Karuna. Right? So sometimes Karuna is also helpful. People also ask, what about Karuna Parami? We don't have Karuna Parami. How should we understand? There's Ubekha Parami, there is a Metta Parami, but no Karuna Parami, no Mudita Parami. Mudita just rejoice. Karuna is also powerful. Why? Karuna is not Parami. Yes, we have to understand Karuna as the foundations of Metta. Without Karuna, there cannot be any perfections, any Parami. Dana also comes from Karuna. We have very great compassion. We can fulfill great perfections. Like the Buddha, he has very, very great compassion to our living beings. That's why he could fulfill very great perfections. So compassion is the foundations of all the parami perfections. So now here also we have to understand Metta is a parami, but Karuna can be the foundations of Metta. Sometimes we have to feel pity for this kind of living beings, because although we are good, they don't know how to be good. Okay, anyway, now we have to understand Metta as loving kindness, loving everyone, all the living beings equally. Now we have 3 different degrees of perfections. The first one is Metta Parami, standard perfections of Metta. Second one is Metta Upa Parami, the medium perfections of Metta. Then the last one is Metta Paramattha Parami, the ultimate perfections of Metta. If we give another simile, like Metta is like a tree, giving a shelter towards living beings, for living beings. One of the men bringing the sword or chainsaw approached the tree. Although he's cutting the tree, sitting in the shade, in the shade. Before the tree is falling down, the tree will protect the man with his shade. He will give us shelter. So although the sun is very hot, he will protect the man who is cutting the tree, protect them from the sun, protect them from the wind. This is the nature of tree. Similarly, the Metta will protect all the living beings, although they are disturbing us. This is the way we have to understand Metta. Then here again, we have to talk about a few more steps about Metta. So when we can radiate Metta, as we have said, we can also attain jhana. Based on that jhana, we can also continue practicing vipassana. The Metta can be the foundations of vipassana. As we have attained jhana, we can start with jhana nama meditation. We can also start with rupa meditation. Anyone is okay. And based on that, we can also continue practicing cause and effect relationship. We can also proceed practicing up to until we can attain path and fruition knowledge. So, when should we radiate Metta? As I have already explained the one about 11 benefits. Not only that, when we get angry, when we have a lot of worry, when we have a lot of anxiety, a lot of emotion, we can radiate Metta. At least we can radiate Metta to ourselves, right? At the time, we become a pitiful living beings. So, if we relate it to previous Dhamma talk, when we have a lot of distractions, or if we cannot believe, if we have lack of faith or confidence, we can we can recall Buddha's quality. Then, if we have a lot of lustful minds or a lot of attachments, we can practice asava meditations, vipassana meditation. If we have a lot of anger or hatred or a lot of emotion, we can radiate Metta to our living beings, to ourselves. So from time to our minds are unstable. From time to time, we will be angry, we will have attachment, we will have a lot of disturbance, or we may not have any confidence. Sometimes we have a lot of delusions, many plans and projects. According to the conditions, we can change the meditation subject. When we are lack of faith, do Buddha-nusati. When we have a lot of attachments, do Asubha. When we have a lot of delusions, do Asubha meditation. Sorry, do recollection of death. Then if we have a lot of anger, hatred, or emotion, do Metta. So from time to time, we have to change our meditation subject. So sometimes Metta can be main subject. Sometimes Metta can be just for help. It will be effective for our meditation. That is why I start with Metta here. Okay, so now we have already finished many part of Samatha subjects, right? But anyway, I have to go and use many other things. Okay, today, as conclusion, we can do Metta meditation for the foundations of Vipassana. We can also do Metta meditation for Parami, if we cannot practice Vipassana in this very life. If we can attain jhana, sure, we can also proceed Vipassana and many other things. So in our daily life, if we have a lot of worry, a lot of anxiety, a lot of distracts, a lot of emotion, then we can also do Metta. We can use Metta in many different ways. Then, if we can do well, it will be for our calmness of the mind. Although we cannot help many people, at least we can help ourselves. We can make peace of mind. We can make our mind calm and peaceful. It will be very beneficial for our practice. So, may you all be able to practice the 3 trainings as instructed by the Buddha, and may you all be able to realize the final cessation by the power of the 3 trainings. Sādhu, Sādhu,
Sādhu. Yeah, there are 2 questions here. One, in the last talk, Sādhu talked about Buddha-nusati, and Sādhu says in Buddha-nusati practice, the ones need to recollect the Buddha's quality. So his question is, recollect, does that mean thinking about the Buddha's quality? Means recollection, is it thinking of Buddha quality? Because her question was, because thinking in jhana, a person in jhana should not think. So how to recollect the Buddha quality if someone cannot think, and how to cultivate concentration from there?
Actually, it's not like only thinking. Yeah? You must try to reflect, recall only one thing again and again. Not only thinking, you have to keep thinking about only one. Right? Don't change another ideas. For example, if you talk about the Buddha is free from craving, for example, just think about free from craving, only one thing. Don't think about any other things. This is called recollection. Okay? So actually, Buddha-nusati is not the subject for jhana. Actually, we cannot attain jhana. We can attain only asset concentration.
Yes, another question here is about Arahant. Arahant has already removed all the defilement, but there are still this tendency, habitual tendency. So what is the difference between kilesa and habitual tendency, Vasana? It seems that it's not very hard to differentiate these 2.
Okay, so actually, when the Buddha attained, he can also eradicate all the defilements, all the kilesa, right? All the tendencies, we can say like that. Okay, mostly we talk about tendency as an anusaya or something like that. Anusaya means we haven't, when there's an occasion, it can rise anytime. This is called anusaya. Normally, it does not arise. Actually, after attaining anothership, all the anusaya kilesa has gone, already eradicated, uprooted. So okay, if we differentiate 2 things, defilements mean that means like that one can define our minds, like lobha, dosa, moha, and there are 10 types of kilesa, right? All these are called defilements. So tendency is a little bit different. Sorry. Tendency is like hidden kilesa, right? Hidden kilesa. It does not arise now. It can arise anytime. This is called anusaya. So we have many different levels of kilesa. Anusaya is also one of the kilesa defilements. So the first kilesa, like vidikama kilesa, the very gross kilesa, right? When we have that kind of kilesa, that kind of defilements, we will fight or we will quarrel or something like that. We may make very, very bad body actions or bhava actions. This is a very gross kilesa. Second steps is just keeping in the mind. We get angry, not very comfortable, but we cannot do anything. This is called second types of kilesa. We call in Bali pariyuthana kilesa. The last one is anusaya kilesa. It does not arise. When we encounter some problem, it will arise normally, naturally. This is called anusaya kilesa. So we can say anusaya kilesa, hidden kilesa. Okay? Anusaya is also, tendency is also hidden kilesa. Okay.
By practicing strong metta jhana, will we be able to help to other beings, seen or unseen? For example, the suffering beings in hell or Etherium. By sending strong metta to these beings, will we be able to help them rebirth to a good realms immediately and stop their sufferings?
Actually, it's impossible. The metta is just for meditation practice. We cannot change their karma. Okay? We cannot change their karma. So we can read metta, but we don't have that kind of power. For example, like Venerable Mahamoggallana, he has very strong psychic power. He could go to the hell. He can create ray, extinguish all the fire. Then hell being can release for the short time. He can give Dhamma talks to the hell beings. They can release short time, like this. If I just merely reading metta, it's impossible to have hell beings or betas like this. If we want to have beta, we can share the merit. This is the only way. If we want to have hell beings, we must have very strong psychic power like Venerable Mahamoggallana. Okay?
Dear Sādhu, how do we practically differentiate love from metta? The Pali word metta is translated as loving kindness. How do we understand this word loving kindness? Sadhu.
Okay. So love can be a kind of attachment, a kind of craving. Okay? That can be very pure love, maybe. So, okay, the main thing is that love can be good and bad, both. We have pure love, like with great intention. For example, like we may have our friends with kindness, with love and kindness, that normal love, no attachment. That can be considered as pure love. Then metta is like loving all the living beings equally. As we love ourselves, we also love all living beings. Right? No difference between ourselves and other living beings. We all are equal. We all are the same. We all are living beings. So if we treat all other living beings as ourselves, this is called metta, loving kindness. So actually, we don't have any particular English word. That's why we just use the Pali English word, loving kindness. Love and kindness arise together. So that means we must have a kind speech, kind actions, and kindness in the mind. We must have kind behavior, right? This is called metta. What about love? So you may have like many love behavior, right? It depends on personality. It can be the conditions, who we love and our relationship. So in the case of metta, we don't need to think about relationship. We just need to think about the living beings. Okay.
Fourth question. When I'm practicing Buddha Nusati or Metta, I have no feeling in my mind. My mind is just plain. Does it mean that my meditation failed? Do I need to have some feelings when practicing these meditation subjects? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, okay, when you are going to do Buddha Nusati or Metta, you must have particular objects. For example, like Buddha's quality. If you don't know Buddha's quality, this is a fake, sure. So similarly, when you are going to ready Metta, you must take living being as object. If you cannot take living being as object, you are fake. Okay? So you must keep knowing one object when you are going to meditate.
Fifth question. Just now, Sādhu explained about the story of Sirima. So how strong our metta should be to be able to turn boiling water into cold water? Is third jhana be able to do that? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. We must break down the barriers. We must be able to enter into that jhana. So sometimes, okay, there will be some special cases. Although we can enter into the third jhana, if we cannot break down the barriers, it cannot be that much effective. In the case of Siriman Uttara, the lady Uttara can ready metta up to that jhana also can break down the barriers. That's why it will become very powerful. Okay.
Sometimes too much metta might bring more harm than help. How do we have metta with wisdom?
Actually, too much metta harms doesn't mean harm ourselves or harm other living beings. So that means if we have metta, we don't feel we are harmed. Okay, practically I will say one thing. If you have like the son or daughter, when they are little kids, they will pull your hair, they will strike your face. You don't get angry because you love your son or your daughter. Similarly, when we have very strong metta, we will not hate anybody, although they disturb us. That's why it will be harmful for other living. For example, like harmful for other living beings means, for example, like because of Bodhisattva's loving kindness, the stronger his loving kindness, the more problem with for like the more harmful for the one who offend him, right? Who disturb him. So okay, there can be that kind of case, that kind of situation. So if we have very strong metta, it cannot be harmful for ourselves. Okay?
Sādhu,
Okay.
the seventh question is, if someone sends metta to himself, what is the nimitta of this metta to himself, and how to acquire metta first jhana?
Actually, by radiating metta to ourselves, we cannot attain any jhana. So the nimitta will be our own image. So maybe as we can visualize, the nimitta will appear. So I have said, when we are going to radiate metta to ourselves, we must visualize our own image, right? We are living beings. That's why we can do nimitta with our own image, but we cannot attain any jhana. It can only accept concentration. Okay, then?
Sādhu, at the beginning of the talk, Sādhu talked about the systematic practice of metta bhavana. There are 5 types of objects: to oneself, to respectable person, to dear person, and so on. Does that mean that each and everyone must have nimitta first, then only change to next person? And following question is, or another way is, after choosing the first group of person, even though nimitta doesn't appear, he can continue to change to another group. Okay, sorry. Okay, I reword again. According to the 5 group of person, if let's say first group, he practice this metta bhavana, must he has nimitta first before change to next one? So this is the first part of question. Second part, if someone is practicing this simas, breaking down the boundary, so also he has to choose the 4 group of person. So let's say if the first group doesn't have nimitta, can he directly change to second group in order to break down the boundary?
So actually, in the case of metta, we don't have any exception like that. So first, when we are going to radiate metta to ourselves, we must see our own image. Similarly, when we are going to radiate metta to a respected one or dear one, we must have their own image as objects. Now we must going to use in different persons of our own sex, his image or her image as object. Then finally, our enemies as object. This is breaking down barriers, right? So we must have objects in every single stage. The object of metta is living beings. If we cannot take living beings as objects, then it cannot be metta anymore. Okay? So, in brief, we have to understand there must be visible objects. We must see it with our eyes or our minds, especially with the light. Then we can.
Is it possible that sending metta is effective even without attaining any jhana state yet?
Okay, actually, it's okay, effective, sure. It's effective to make our mind calm, peaceful, sure. This is possible.
Good evening, Bhante. I heard before for object to practice Brahma Vihara cannot be the dead person or person has been passed away. May I know why?
Okay, so the object of metta of Brahma Vihara is living beings, not dead beings, right? It must be living beings as object, that's why. If somebody passed away, it's not living beings anymore, we cannot radiate metta. We cannot practice sublime guidance. Okay?
My respected person is opposite sex. Do I have to choose a same-sex person only?
Sure, you have to choose only same sex. It will be more beneficial. So,
about sending metta to oneself, does that mean that he has to use the light to shine on his own body in order to send metta, or he just pay attention himself as is in front of him to send metta?
Okay, so you get the main thing is you have to visualize yourself. Don't think about in front of you or your own body or anything, right? Visualize yourself. Okay, you know you are sitting. Just visualize yourself. Just radiate metta toward yourself. If you can see it with your light, much better, sure.
Thank you, Sādhu, for your teaching. And also Interpreter Bhante for the translation. May we invite Bhante to lead us in making aspiration and sharing of merits.
Okay.
Sādhu, Sādhu, Sādhu.
Itawata ja'amehi sambadam punya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe saddha numodandu sabba sampati siddhiya idame nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idame nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idame nyatinam hodu Sukhita hondu nyadayo idame punyam asavekaya waham hodu idame punyam nibbanasa pajayo hodu mama punya bhagam sabba sadanam bhajemi de sabbe me samam punya bhagam labandu. Sādhu, Sādhu, Sādhu.
Sādhu, Sādhu, Sādhu. Thank you, Sādhu. Thank you, Bhante, and everyone for your time and participation. Till we meet on next Saturday, may you all be well and happy. Sādhu, Sādhu, Sādhu.